What's up, 49er fans? Welcome in. We are talking some pretty interesting things tonight, some big transactions in the NFL today that have 49er fans and the fan base buzzing a little bit. Of course, I'm talking about the releases of Jaire Alexander from the Packers and Germaine Pratt from the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's get into it. But first, welcome in. This is the Seth Floyd Show. I'm your host, Seth Floyd Hansen. When I hit record on this video, we were up to 394 subscribers. Please help me out. If you're new here, please hit subscribe. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. I'm trying to get to 500 by week 1. That's about 4 months away, maybe. June, July, August, September. Yeah, roughly 4 months till we get to week 1 of the NFL. So thank you so much for being here. Guys, there were 2 big releases. Okay, the biggest one being Jaire Alexander. And we know anytime someone is let go, we automatically start hitting up John Lynch. We all start talking if this is a good move for the 49ers, if it's something they should look into or not. So I want to talk about each of these players probably pretty quick, but it's kind of the only thing happening in the NFL as of right now. But tomorrow, they're going to be rocking and rolling with mandatory minicamp, which is open to the media, which is pretty exciting. So there's probably some good little nuggets and pieces on rookies going to come out later this week. Jaire Alexander, guys, there is no debating, I don't think, that when he is healthy and playing, he is one of the best. One of the best. Wherever you want to slot him is fine. He's been to multiple Pro Bowls. He's very good, been very good for the Packers. But the problem is he has not played a whole bunch in these last 2 seasons. And that is the kind of the beginning and the end to me of this Jaire Alexander talking point, okay, if you will. Okay, because I just don't think this is a move that the 49ers are going to make or entertain, because he has missed 20 games over the last 2 seasons. 20 games over the last 2 seasons. Now, I guess if Jaire Alexander was like, hey, I really want to play for the 49ers. I love Robert Saleh for some reason. I want to play with Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. I want to play with Deommodore Lenoir. And I'm willing to take a vet minimum because the Packers still owe me money. Then, fine. If he was willing to take the vet minimum, then I would be all in. But based on his contract negotiations with the Packers, based on how things got weird there, I don't think he's going to take the vet minimum. I wouldn't if I was him, because I'm sure a team out there is going to pay him more. It just doesn't make sense. Look at how last year went. There was such a bad taste in the front office's mouth, the owner's mouth, because they gave all this guaranteed money last offseason to guys who got hurt. You're looking at Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, you're looking at Trent Williams. These guys that got paid and then couldn't be on the field. And so there is just no way they're going to pony up some money for a guy who just history shows he's not going to be healthy, that he can't stay healthy. And as you get older, you're not likely to get more healthy. So I don't see it, 49 fans. It would be exciting. If they did it, I would be like, man, it's a gamble, but I'm excited. I would imagine, I don't know, maybe let me know if I'm wrong, but I would imagine if they did that, sorry, it's like a bajillion degrees in my garage right now, so I'm dying. I imagine that it would mean Renardo Green and Jaire Alexander play outside, and you would slide Demo into the slot. It's not a bad thing to have too many corners, because you also have Upton Stout, who people are really high on. I know he's just a rookie, but people are excited about him. You also have Darrell Luter, okay? Trey Johnson, is that his name? Who they just signed that. I might be getting that wrong. They signed him as a nickel. So it wouldn't be bad from that point of view, from that sense. But I just can't see it. Missed 20 games in the last 2 seasons. They're just not going to do it. They're going to roll the dice on guys they already have in the building. Okay, you feel great about Demo. You feel really good about Renardo Green's strong rookie campaign. You feel good about Robert Saleh being back in his scheme and his system, getting after the passer. So I think it's going to be a hard pass. They might call him, say, hey, how low are you willing to take that minimum, somewhere around there, and immediately he's going to say no and he'll move on. So sorry, 49er fans, I can't imagine this goes any other way. All signs this offseason have pointed to they're not doing this kind of thing anymore, that they're going to retool, get younger, and definitely not taking risk on injury risks, guys with a lot of injury history. Germaine Pratt, however, okay, I think I would be a little more intrigued on this one. Again, you're not going to pay big money for him. I think he's 29, okay? Was actually a really good piece for that Bengals defense that was not very good last year. Maybe he was, sometimes it can be skewed a little bit, but dude was a tackle machine. He had 142 combined tackles. I think 140 something. I think he had around 80 solo tackles. He had 2 interceptions. And if you look at there's 2 telling things. There's 2 very telling things in his career. Each year of his career, if you look, his tackles increase. Every single year he has a higher combined tackle count. Like it's like he's getting better. He's around the ball. Like that's fantastic. There's been no like real dip in his career. There wasn't a big dip last year. In fact, last year was his career year of 142, 143 combined tackles, 80 solo tackles. Incredible. The other thing is if you look at his career, he's played like 15 games, 16 games, 16 games, 16 games, 17 games, like all these huge numbers, which is important to the 49ers. So I imagine that is the move that they'll at least look into because there is a hole there. Now, what is D. Winters? We don't know. I think D. Winters flashed at times. You could argue that D. Winters, I just had like such a brain fart. You could argue that D. Winters' development was stunted last year because you brought in a vet. He who must not be named, Devondre Campbell, loves to quote tweet me when I call him out for quitting on his team. Could argue it stunted D. Winters' growth, so maybe they want to avoid that kind of situation. I know we're all super high on Nick Martin. My one thing about that is he is a rookie, and no matter how good rookies are, you play rookies, there's gonna be some mistakes that are made if you have to rely on them a ton. So like if you're just gonna if Nick Martin shows in camp that he's really good, and you're like, look, we're gonna go with Nick Martin, his speed, his tenacity, we want it, great. But if you're going to have him start game in and game out, there's just going to be mistakes here and there that are going to give up some big plays. It doesn't mean you're going to lose those games, but it is a little risky. It's a little nerve-wracking to have a rookie start like that when they weren't like this ultra-high prospect. Like starting Nick Martin from the 3rd round is a lot different than starting like Mykel Williams, who is like a touted, this dude should start right away, if that makes sense. It doesn't. If Nick Martin looks great in camp, I would start him. I'm not saying don't start him. I'm just thinking how the front office might think. They might say, look, this guy has been around in the league. He's produced at a high level. He was one of the lone bright spots on that terrible Cincinnati defense last year. Let's bring him in if he'll take a low kind of prove it 1-year deal contract to kind of just give us some depth, shore up some one of our holes that we have here. Because look, when you like for Nick Martin, it's never a bad idea to have a rookie sit if you can afford it. If you have a guy that is genuinely better and that he can learn under, like that's never a bad idea. Or have him sit for half a season. They're always going to learn, and there's no problem easing a guy in, especially a guy that's like a 3rd round prospect, not a 1st round prospect. If it's a 1st round prospect, it's a little different. But 3rd rounder like that, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But I think the biggest thing for me is his production. 140 combined tackles, 80 solo tackles. Like, dude is just around the ball. That's like a great season. I don't know what Cincinnati's doing. I feel like they are wasting. Man, I don't know. I don't want to speak because the same people are saying things about the 49ers letting people go. But they've paid both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. They can't get this deal done with Trey Hendrickson. And now they're going to let Germaine Pratt go, who was a captain on their defense last year. I feel like I want to root for the Bengals. I do root for the Bengals. When I say root for them, I mean out of the AFC North, that's probably the team I like the most in that division. I like Joe Burrow, so I want him to be good. I like Jamar Chase. I want the team to be good. I want them to win games. But man, it's just hard to believe in them when their defense is like this. Now, but I could be wrong. Maybe they drafted a couple linebackers. Okay, one of them was Barrett out of Clemson, who I really liked. So maybe like they just believe in those dudes and know they've got something with them, so they can afford to let Pratt go. Then fine, I could be eating my words, but it feels a little dicey out there in Cincinnati. Regardless, I would look into Pratt. Are you interested in coming to San Francisco? What would that price tag be? Are you willing to do a 1-year incentive kind of base deal? Get a chance to play next to Fred Warner and not have to be the main guy that gets all the focus, and you could fill that Dre Greenlaw role. Like, I don't know. I think it's worth kicking the tires on. So, I don't know. He was going into the final year of his deal with Cincinnati. He signed a 3-year extension in 23, so they decided to let him go. I don't think he was like a heavy price tag, but he's played well, so you might be able to get him cheaper. You'd be able to get him cheaper than you would get Jaire Alexander. And he's durable. Look at all these games he's played. It's a huge amount. So I don't know. I'm not going to act like an expert on Germaine Pratt, but I would kick the tires. I would look into it. I think him and Fred Warner, and give Nick Martin a chance to come along slower, D Winters to develop a little more. Because that's the thing. Even if you paid him not a huge amount of money, if he was willing to take I couldn't even get into the numbers, a five-year guaranteed deal with some incentives to reach 10, or I don't know. I don't even know if that makes sense. Like, I'm not sure. But if something like that, you could play him, and then eventually if Nick Martin's that good or D Winters develops and is that good, like, you have no problem starting this guy over him eventually once he's developed a little more. So I think it gives you more depth, but we'll see. I don't think they'll do it. I should say that. While I would kick the tires and hopefully they'll look into it, my ultimate gut feeling is they're not going to do it. They clearly like Nick Martin. I think they do have a lot of hope for D Winters. I think Tatum Bethune out of Florida State last year was also like a guy they really like. So it feels like there's guys there that they believe in. So they probably won't, but man, I would love them to at least look into it and see what's there. So overall, I'm hard pass on Jaire Alexander. If he was healthy, great, but if he was healthy, then you're going to have to pay out the wazoo, and that's just not in the blueprint right now. And then Germaine Pratt, I would kick the tires, see what kind of deal he's willing to take. He's healthy, he's durable, he produces at a high clip, and I think that him and Fred Warner next to each other would be pretty good. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's all I got. Tomorrow, mandatory minicamp, open to the media. So really excited to see those videos come out. See, it's just a taste. It's just a taste before there's the calm before the storm you're going to have in the next 6 weeks or whatever till training camp. But still fun. Be excited. 49er fans, we're getting closer. We're inching closer every single day to the 2025 season, and I can't wait. But that's all I got. If you're still here, thank you so much. Hit subscribe, hit the like button, share it with your friends, share it with your enemies. That's all I got. Go Niners.